legacy artists who have put out albums, who have won Grammys, that with a viral song on TikTok will only be able to drop maybe a music video with the single. Tyla reminds me of, what's that girl? Hold on, I want to look up her name so I say her name right. Tyla reminds me of Ella Mai. All the songs sound the same. The progressions, the harmonies, all of them sound the same. So I don't know if it was the same song. I don't know if Tyla writes her own songs. I know that there are folks helping her produce. I don't think the color conversation, I don't think that was a barrier.
Please go back and check out the entire piece that Dominique Morgan did. I think it is very informative. And then I did go in the direction of colorism, so here we go. Hi everyone, this is the TS Skydoll Ariel coming to chat with you from inside my car while I'm doing laundry. And it's so hot. Let me open this window just a little bit more. Excuse the noise. So the other day I was on TikTok and I ran down the whole Tyla album sales losses and her fandoms going in on Black American women as the issue and the problem. Thank you. So on. And so I just wanted to kind of talk about colorism for my portion and to add on to the storyline. I know the artist Tyla. I don't know much about her. To be honest with you, I thought she was from Brazil. To be honest with you, I thought she was Brazilian. I didn't know she was South African. However, I did see the clips and stuff of her interviewing on the Breakfast Club and everything like that, and her stating that, she considered herself colored or mixed race or, whatever the latest acronym it is to be of, one race and another race. And to me, if that's how she feels, that's, in my opinion, not a flex. Just because, starting from Black history, and we're talking African and American history because it started over there with the theft of it all, with Spain wanting gold and didn't have anything to trade gold with, so they decided that they would trade human beings, and that started the world with eyes to start trafficking Africans, which has continued over 400 years up until today, and is still going on in some parts of the world, of trafficking of young children. And a lot of the young people that were stolen in Africa were children. And so for me, hearing someone call themselves colored is very problematic, seeing that how horrific our ancestral history was, being taken as young people and then being assaulted en route to the Americas, and then having the colored, as she says, children when we arrived to the America. So the race mixing and stuff like that is not a flex to me. But you fast forward to today, and every time I leave my house, I see an African American guy with someone other than someone who looks, dark skinned. They're with white, Asian, Latina. They with whoever they want to have their families and have a life with, whoever they fall in love with, or however they get together. But it's still, to me, not a flex, because the history of the hatred that you had to steal somebody, bring them to this country, force them to do whatever it is you wanted them to do in such the most horrific and cruel ways that you can imagine, and then turn around and free them in the mid 1800s, and then continue the hatred on up until present day with our orange president. Nothing has changed really, in my opinion, other than people can do whatever they want, and they're trying to reverse everything as far as interracial marriage and stuff like that. That's on the chopping block here, present day, with this administration, if you haven't heard. As far as hearing Africans speak negatively about American people from South Africa, I find it very weird, just because we have seen one of your CEOs come to the United States and flex his muscle into our politics as if he was, picked in by the people, in which he wasn't. He bought his way in like all the other non-melanated billionaires did to the Orange Man, and start to pick apart all of our government jobs. The ones that, from what I understand, were basically investigating him and his companies for fraud and for fraudulent activities and such. And the list goes on. But he's a South African. I think there's at least 3 South Africans who are currently working it out in our political arena. I forget the names of the other 2. It won't come to me, but Elon is the one that we know mostly for his Tesla vehicles and stuff like that, and his tunnels and things that he's been inserting in Las Vegas, and now going to be in Memphis, and I guess he's putting them in every state. I don't know. We don't have access to all the dirty inner workings until the stuff. The deals are already done, but it seems like him and the president are always fighting with each other. But he is clearly not about brown-skinned people. He's made that very clear, from his little Hitler salutes to his, having multiple baby mamas with these, American girls. So, for me, understanding the little bit of knowledge that I know about your country is because I would say, understanding that the Dutch came over there and, stole all y'all's land. Basically, they own most of the farming land that you guys don't have access to this day. I would think that would be more upsetting to the people who are melanated, who live in South Africa, as opposed to supporting someone calling themselves colored and supporting a system that has not done you well. If you understand what I'm saying, you allowed someone to come and invade your land, take your land. Now you have the power structure to get it back, but you're wasting your time looking across the pond at American people and saying all these horrific things and having ill feelings towards them because someone corrected you on the word colored, which we don't like that word, because that word was what separated us from non-melanated people for a very long time. And they're trying to bring all this separation again in 2025. They're trying to make laws where we can't drink in the same water fountains. They want to go back to that. This is what the Orange Man, Elon, and all these elite billionaires want to do. They want to go back 50 years to a time where dark-skinned people like me didn't have any rights. They're literally trying to do that right now, hijack the country and push us back into that. But it's my belief and my understanding that we are a stronger people than that. So while you guys are over here throwing, stones at us about the word colored, I don't know exactly how you guys are treated over there. From what I understand, your Elon is a prime example of what he thinks about dark-skinned African people. We are African at the end of the day. We were the ones who were trafficked to this country illegally and forced to be here and work for hundreds of years for no money, for free. We built this country for free. So if you don't take away anything from this conversation with me, understand when people use the word colored, it's not a flex. We understand that, race mixing happened in your country just like it happened to us. And as we were scattered all over the planet, all the way to Brazil and all over the world, we're everywhere in every language. We know that. We're so scattered out, we're the majority globally. But if we're fighting with each other, we can't come together as a people. And that's just the honest truth. I call my crazy tale marrying a guy from Egypt. I went to North Africa back in around 2007. We started talking online, and I started going back and forth over there with him. We got married around 2009, and before 2010 could hit, here comes this girl from Canada texting me on Facebook, "That's my husband." And I'm like, well, that's my husband, so how do both of us are married to the same person? And then she had the nerve to say, well, thank you for the money because he gives me all of your money. I said, oh, this white girl lost her mind. So me and him ended up separating, but before we broke up, because I wouldn't give him any more money because he had basically taken it all anyway, he decided to tell me that she was what he wanted, that I was the ugly American, I was the fat cow, I was a black ape, and all of these things that, you know, he really was angry. He wanted to get all that out to let me know that nobody would want me. All I was good was for sex and throwing away. That's all that anybody after him was ever going to do to me and stuff like that. So I was heartbroken, you know, because I had really put everything I was into that relationship, thinking that I was going to have, you know, a dual citizenship to be able to go back and forth, summers over there in his country, and then, you know, fall and winter in my country, was what we had planned together, not knowing that he had married this other girl and had her hidden out somewhere in Cairo too. So I say all of this to say that, you know, I decided to just, you know, throw in the towel because I really just accepted what he said to me as the truth. Even though I love myself and I would never change who I am for nobody. I don't want to be a mixed race. I don't want to be white or anything like that. I'm very much happy and comfortable being dark skinned and loving who I am. If nobody else on the planet loves me, I love this body that I'm in because I, to me, look like my mother. And she was beautiful to me. So when it comes down to that, I don't understand how dark-skinned young people are buying into colorism. And they will sit there and play these games and act like they hate to see me on TikTok, tell me to go to bed, call me grandma, you know, flip the screen off like they don't want to look at my face because I'm dark-skinned. That ain't no flex. You're just making a fool out of yourself because at the end of the day, I don't care how you mix it or, you know, jive it, you're still black, you still have African DNA in you. And whether you like it or not, we're African. We are the trafficked people. Our ancestors were trafficked over here. We didn't come here because we wanted to. We didn't come here because we wanted to immigrate from Africa and have a better life. That is not a thing. And that story about that president that y'all keep, you know, romanticizing about George Washington and Mary Helmsley, that was a child that was a slave that he owned. He was married to his wife. I think her name was Martha. And then he continued to SA a child and make babies with her. And she birthed every one of his kids. His mixed race kids, or what Tyla calls colored. But that was not a flex. So when you're romanticizing, oh, and she had the choice to come from Paris to be with her lover, and she had the hard decisions to make, stop it. Just stop. I feel nauseated and I want to throw up when I hear people trying to romanticize something that was not romantic, that was horrific. And so a lot of our ancestors were children who came to this country enslaved and were forced to have their enslavers' children, what she calls colored. Those are mixed race children who are still African at the end of the day. And so my thing is, that's not a flex. Love who you love and date whoever you want to date, but don't be over there with all of it. You know, she got the straight hair, the good hair. No, your 4C hair is beautiful. If you want to have straight hair or curly hair or a wig, put one on. If you want to straighten your hair, straighten it. But don't ever think that what's coming naturally out of your head is ugly. Don't think that your dark skin is ugly. And I'm talking to you South African people who are trying to flex that Tyla is more beautiful than we are. That's not true. I'm sorry, baby. Her melanation, her darkness is what makes her beautiful. Nothing else. And everything else came from us anyway. When I was a child, I'll tell you this last thing. My church that I went to was a Baptist church. The first thing I saw was the baptismal at the back of the church. It was a painting of Jesus. The Jesus that we were looking at was a white Jesus. He had blonde hair, blue-eyed Jesus. We didn't even know Jesus was brown. I was an adult before I really understood that Jesus came from Bethlehem, which is where Palestine is right now, the one that they're bombing. You guys are bombing the birth of Jesus' birthplace. And so it took me a long time to be educated on these things as a black American and understanding black history. I follow black professors now to help educate me and bring me up to date on what's going on in the world, in Africa, and places like that. I listen to NPR. I try my best to stay up to date on what's going on globally. I don't want to be stupid in my head thinking that America is the be-all and end-all. I know that we're all on this rock together all over the planet in many different languages. Our identity was taken from us. That's why we have American names. We speak English. We have no identity of knowing where our ancestors were stolen from in Africa. We have an idea somewhere between Nigeria and Sierra Leone and South Africa. It could have been North Africa too. Who knows? They chopped Africa up into pieces. The north side's got Spanish speaking and French speaking and Arabic speaking, and then you come on your side and you got all those tribal languages. And it goes on and on. So we love you. We're praying for that you guys will love your dark skin and stop praising people who are mixed race and stuff like that. It's not a flex. Know your history. Know that someone invaded your country from somewhere else. White Dutch people invaded your land. You should know that, and have held on to your land for hundreds of years. We know who Nelson Mandela was. We know what the apartheid system was like. We know who Trevor Noah is. He's educated us on Born a Crime, his book. So it's not like we don't know nothing about y'all. We know some things, but you guys have to wake up and come together and stop this nonsense about colorism, because that's not a flex. Saying you're colored is not a flex in America. That is a train wreck. So please like, share, subscribe. If you want to know more about me, let your fingers do the walking. This is a TS Skydoll presentation, if you know what I mean. And that is not a, thing for me to be trying to hide, because how y'all like, oh, she's trying to trick somebody. It's not a trick. Let your fingers roll right down my page. So I've shared with you a little bit about my life and my story. I hope this reaches South Africa with love, and let's move forward and make it happen. We have to love each other and love the skin that we're in and love each other as African people. Because one thing y'all can't do, we can't separate each other. We're scattered all over the planet because of hatred and greed. And that time is gone. It's not coming back. I hate to say that, but it's not. That's the over and done with. Black folks ain't going back to that. I promise you. So, love you. Goodbye. Even if you don't love me, I love you. Bye.